Warning. The following may contain concepts, ideas, and/or reflections unique in nature and not yet approved by government and/or corporate entities. This content is for entertainment purposes only and is not intended to stimulate further reflection or to perpetuate additional discourse beyond the scope already outlined by institutional curriculum.
All right. Are you ready to go?
Yes, I am.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a High Energy Friday episode where we will
Is this
go...
the Stephen Wright edition?
Maybe. Where we will go through what I believe will be called the Ad-apaloosa or the Cloutchasers or some such
Hey, we had like we
fantasy.
thought it would be a Stephen Wright joke. Do you remember it?
No, I can't quite remember that one.
We'll have to put it to paper sometime if it does come back to mind.
Anyways, we're drowning in ads. And what is it all in aid of? Let's cue the intro and then we're going to get into it.
Do you know time is
All right, we can get into it now.
Thanks to all our advertisers. That was a long, lengthy list of advertisements, but we're back.
No, but I mean, I'm not even going to break into the statistics or anything like this, but just take my word for it. Ads make up the vast majority of our economy.
Dude, I was watching...
It's the craziest thing.
I was watching Redacted while I had I was making breakfast.
Yeah.
And or maybe I was washing dishes. Whatever it was, I had to like dry my hands to like hit the skip button because I counted every 6 minutes they would throw in an ad. Not only that, the first bit of the video there was 3 ads, boom, right away.
No, but here's the other thing. What are the ads? This is another interesting component because I think that a lot of the ads are not even really linked to products or actual tangible items. It's like,
oh, you're not using AI properly. Here's how to use AI.
Useless. Garbage. It's an ad to encourage people to produce more shit to consume from a digital standpoint. Nothing's being created.
Every once in a while,
it's
I
like a
might
worm
actually
eating
see
its own tail.
something I'm interested in, but I purposely won't click
Don't
on it
tell
because I
them that.
don't want. No, I mean it happens. I think maybe 2% of the time.
Wasn't it that like a bullshit gun that was just like an air pistol that you were like, oh, maybe that? Yeah.
No, so what I did,
called.
but instead of clicking on the ad on there, I just wrote it down and then I researched it and then I got reviews for air pistols.
Yeah,
and it was okay. It wasn't like right up there at the top tier, but it was in the top 10.
No, but I do think that there's a hell of a lot of. I mean, and it's not just that everything is based around ads, but also, I mean, I've also kind of been considering the fact that maybe the reason why the algorithm is shitting the bed is because, like, for example, with YouTube, they're purposely torpedoing search results. For example,
they don't want you going down a certain road.
For example, if I look up Rush, the band, the Canadian icons that are going on
that
tour.
defined a generation.
Right. It's amazing how, like, if I want a full discography, I'm going to have to just go onto like Wikipedia or something or some sort of alternative page, get a discography of Rush so that I can find the actual song that I'm looking for. Because if I just type in Rush without knowing the actual name of the song that I want, I won't get it. Because it just has like, it'll have the top like 3 or 4 results, and then it'll just torpedo it, and you'll just get this kind of repetitive bullshit, not really getting what you're seeking. And then I was thinking,
should we lay on them the best kept secret about if you have a VPN?
No. They can
Figure it out
figure it out
themselves?
themselves.
All right.
But here's the thing. If you look at the entire grand scheme of these ads and what the entire Google's most of their money is generated from ad revenue. So it's like 85% of their $100 or $200 billion a year revenue is coming from ads. That's it. Right. So then
the rest is probably sucked off of black op budget from the CIA and shoveled to them in the truckload.
So if you think about it, in a sense, I'm gonna put it out there that I think that they're purposely torpedoing their own search engine, making the search engine function worse, right? Purposely so that you, if you're a business, you feel obligated to purchase ad space even on the Google search engine.
Maybe it's
just so that you can get results when someone looks up hardware stores. If you're not paying Google, doesn't matter if you're a hardware store, you're not going to show up because you're going to be just buried.
Maybe it's
right?
the results of all those H-1B1 visas. They're finally showing themselves up.
Well, sure, but
the results.
Well, I do think it is amazing. See, greed is an amazing thing. Why would greed be a vice, right? If greed only caused people to strive for perfection, why would greed be a vice? The reason why greed's a vice is because it's a destructive force, and it will destroy the person who has greed, right?
You can never be convicted of greed, though. It's amazing that the Vice Squad doesn't go after greed. They should, because it's probably the most damaging to society.
Yeah, but I think that's all that's happening is just short-sighted greed is we get more ad revenue if we basically give people no results on our search engine. So, but for me, I'm teetering on the point of just completely wiping my feet clean of almost everything online, just because what is the use? I mean, you got
wait until you get kicked off. You should at least wait until you got that digital ID. They see what you've been saying or doing, and then they say, you're not allowed on there anymore.
And then I'll go,
you're gonna be
I didn't even want your stupid fucking social media to begin with.
Yeah, I think I'll go out for a walk in the park and clear my head and think pleasant thoughts.
Yeah, I'll go lift some weights. And since I have to have a catalog of all the songs I want to listen to in my brain anyways, I'll just go back to
what's the
hard,
big ones down here? One ad we always get is McDonald's. I mean, you always get some woman sinking her teeth into some chicken nugget, and the other one is Suzuki. We've never heard of Suzuki before. Gee.
Yeah, well, it also here's another interesting component to ads, right? Is we may take it for granted, but when someone makes a comment about let's just say pushing a certain type of story through Hollywood, and you have a lot of stories are of a certain ilk, or there's a committee that is approving certain stories, and people go, well, whatever, it's just a story.
And all the actors are smoking Marlboro cigarettes. Would you like?
No, but I'm not even talking about that.
Okay.
I'm talking about, think about this. Think about how many companies out there are already some of the biggest companies on the planet, yet they're willing to spend billions, tens of billions of dollars a year on ads to make sure that you never forget them, that you're always reminded, because somehow visual stimulus is such an impregnating thought that can just seep into your psyche, where a person goes, I've had McDonald's before, I don't like it, right? But then you see a colorful ad and you go, oh, fuck, I'm going to get myself a Big Mac now. But it has to work that way. It has to, because
it does
if
work
it didn't,
it works for the majority of people, but sure as shit don't work for everybody.
of course it doesn't work for everybody. I'm saying on the macro scale, it has to be that simple, because McDonald's is not going to spend $10 billion a year if they are not seeing any positive returns from those advertisements, which means that their stupid little ads that are like, put into your face, and people go, yeah, well, what?
Loving it.
Is that going to work? Is that going to work? Well, obviously it does work. And McDonald's isn't the only company that does that. It's like there's an endless procession. Every company out there is spending a huge chunk of its revenue on advertisement.
Yes, it's true, but I think in some ways, you want to talk about monopoly. I think there is a monopoly in advertisement. An example is you'll get shit tons of McDonald's commercials on YouTube, but you won't get Burger King, Dairy Queen, A&W, and a host of other Jack in the Box.
Well, there's different versions.
It's like I think even
but also
in grocery
keep in mind
stores,
that
they've said, if you're going to stock this, we don't want you stocking this.
Right, and also keep in mind that McDonald's is the biggest, so.
Yeah,
even though those other companies are, in the framework, McDonald's is the one that is the most internationally known.
I believe it's a part of the Fortune 500, but I could be wrong.
But if you think about it, like some companies, people might go, well, Tesla doesn't advertise, but you're also talking about a prick who The CEO of Tesla is one of the most prolific personalities online. Also happens to fucking own a multimedia outlet now in the form of X. So he's advertising just in a different way or an avenue.
I bet you all the women he's gone through, he's had them sign NDAs.
Non-disclosure agreements for sure. But here is an interesting,
because that could be really funny. Some of the tales that could be revealed.
Yeah, sure.
Anyways, moving right along.
The point is just about, and then you get to another aspect, because of course we've always had these McDonald's commercials and other stuff like this. But what I'm kind of like curious about is some of these other smaller things where we're advertising now. YouTube channels that are going to entertain and then sell advertising dollars, and then we're advertising AI that's going to generate content that people are going to view, that's going to generate advertising dollars, and then eventually you go, how much of the market is going to be creating content that you can sell advertising dollars on, to the point where is anybody actually producing anything real at all? Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to ask, if I remember correctly, I think YouTube used to have maybe just a sidebar picture or something. They didn't always bombard you with actual video commercials. But maybe I'm wrong.
Dude, in 2006 or 2007, when it was its own entity.
Oh, yeah, before it was bought out.
I'm pretty sure that there was basically almost no advertisement at all. There was no sidebar advertisement. There was no recommended videos being advertised. There was no video ad advertisement. And it basically it was almost like it was
slow
transition,
a community global service,
and it was
to get people lured into the whole thing about the internet.
And it took a while, because if you think about it, by the time you had YouTube of the 2011s, I think Google had already acquired it at that time. You did have the advertisement, but they're always you could skip them instantly. And then they started having, you got to wait a little bit. And then the big reveal was when you had actually multiple videos, when it cut in the middle of a video. Holy shit.
Or
and then,
in the middle of a song you're listening to.
Well, now that's this is the modern thing, is you're have you ever thought about diabetes? Diabetes is hitting everybody hard in America today. Brought to you by the
McDonald's?
Heart and Bloods Association. So it's like, no. I mean, you could get anything just like cutting in, like crazy.
Yeah.
Some countries too.
But you know what they'll
some
say?
countries are way worse than
You
others.
know what they'll tell you? Well, you shouldn't be listening to that song for free. You should have bought the CD or the album.
Yeah.
That's what.
No, but
The,
the funny thing is
cheerleaders of this system will say, well, come on, you shouldn't been expecting to endlessly listen to music without paying for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can say whatever you want. I mean, it's funny how these trillionaires are telling us how, selfish we could be to want to listen to something. It's just like where, you buy a CD or you buy songs on iTunes, and, maybe you don't end up transferring it or something like that.
Or for some reason,
it
it gets corrupted and you no longer have that music.
But, I mean, maybe like in the 70s, you could have had someone going into your house and it's like, hey, sorry, I'm from Apple Records. You guys have been listening to this same fucking record from the Beatles. Seems like too many times. It seems like you're basically robbing us now, the way that you've been listening to this.
Oh, that Apple.
Yeah,
okay,
you
Apple
haven't.
Records.
Yeah, you
Okay.
haven't, and you haven't actually, or whatever, EMI or Capital or whatever.
Yeah,
But,
I guess there wasn't that level of sort of like almost corporate nastiness that existed then. It's
guy
taken a while
comes
for
to
this
a-
thing
a-
to
a guy
morph
comes to
into
a
the
house-
beast it is.
A guy comes to a house party with a new Led Zeppelin album, and you got the record studio going like, whoa, you bought that? Okay, just a sec. You bought that song. You bought that album for you. You didn't get the legal right to share it with your friends on this record player. To all these people, look there's like fucking 40, 50 people here. How dare you steal from us and Led Zeppelin?
Yeah, and they have in society little busybodies that go around checking into restaurants or coffee shops or probably even barber shops and making sure that you're not playing some music that you're not paying copyright to.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Which the artists themselves don't get, but the record companies do.
Well, you know what's funny, dude? Even if you look in the past, if you look at like old school newspapers, like the further back you go, the less advertisement is in old school papers.
Oh yeah,
like
now
if you're like turn of the
you picked
century,
up the
like
New York Times, it's probably like 90% advertisement.
it's like, yeah, and in the like 1920s, there's like this little fucking advertisement for like a shoemaker, like
or funeral parlor.
I don't think they ever had any advertisement on the front page. There would never be an ad on the front page.
No, you think it would be headlines.
Yeah,
Headline
just-
sensation, not
just headlines.
How many advertise? Look at this. You could get shoes at Macy's. Extra. Read all about shoes at Macy's for $2.50.
But I think another interesting component is that, because what blows my mind is advertising things that aren't actual products, right? That's what blows my mind, is when people are advertising just other videos that you could watch or other forms of entertainment, and it becomes this like cyclical sort of merry-go-round of basically just, you got an ad on a video about how to make ads, and then that video is trying to push its video by paying for ad space so that they could get enough subscribers so that they can then sell ad space, and then they can make money, and then you've got another channel that's going to advertise on that channel to make more ad.
Yeah, okay. So maybe what it really comes down to is they don't really have anything to really peddle.
Well, because other than like the big, huge behemoth companies, I'm thinking about like a lot of these smaller companies. It's amazing how much they do the circuit. Like, it's crazy. Like, you never you said you never heard. I can't believe it, but Ridge Wallet is one of those companies that's just it's done the circuit. So many people have sold ad space or BetterHelp. You were talking about the wellness center and
yeah, I don't want to say too much about that because I don't really know, but it seems like from what I've heard, a lot of these alternative right channels seem to be hooked into these guys and they're peddling. It's kind of like you scratch my back, I scratch your back. And we'll get into some money together.
I'm just saying,
and we'll grow our podcast together.
Okay, here's what my point is. My point is that given
really
given
good
how
products,
many given how many people are on the planet, right, and how many potential products are out on the planet, I think that the lack of diversity in advertisement is very weird.
I mean, 150 years later, we're still advertising Coca-Cola.
Right, and we're still advertising Chevron. Like, what? Like,
you never heard
of gasoline before? Like, what the fuck's going on? I don't understand. But not only that, but like these other entities that will like be weaving their way into the ad space. But like, if you take someone that's like, oh, I'm selling a knife or something, it just seems weird that there's not a litany of other people that are also selling knives. Like, it seems like making a knife is not that crazy of a thing to be producing, but it seems
I don't
like
imagine there's too many people out there pounding down metal like a foundry.
But what I'm saying is there's a surprise.
But there are knife makers out there for sure.
There's a surprising dearth when it comes to the diversity of advertisers in the space, right?
My neck is a little sore from the gym.
Okay.
That's why I keep on turning it over here. But I got to stretch.
but this is my point, is that I'm saying that to me, the whole system seems incredibly odd, the way that it's operating, the way that you'll have like ad campaigns that just like seemingly from a small company, but how can it be when you've got like an ad that will be like popped into almost every video you watch, and you'll that one guy who sells like he sells fitness stuff, I guess, especially watching any fitness video. He's like, yeah, you want to lose belly fat? You don't lose belly fat by doing cardio. You lose belly fat by blah, 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 blah.
By
right?
buying this little machine that'll like...
V-Shred. I think that's what it's called. Anyways, here's the thing about this, right? Eventually, I'm thinking about ad space. I'm thinking about a multi-billion-dollar company. That's weird. It's weird that V-Shred has enough money to buy like so much ad space that his videos are almost always like inserted, and not even always in a particular like like exercise video or anything like that. Sometimes it's like only vague. It could even be like I think I've seen him on like engineering videos or other shit like this where it's popped in there.
Yeah, well, maybe he's connected somehow.
Well, but dude, it's crazy that some guy who's selling like exercise programs, right, is that powerful. That'd be like if you were in the old school days, right? That'd be like going to the Super Bowl, right, and being like the entire fucking halftime show is sponsored by Jenny Craig, and every third commercial is Jenny Craig. And when you turn on your programming after the Super Bowl is over, basically, 2/3 of the advertisement are Jenny Craig. You'd be like, what kind of money is this bitch pulling in? That she's basically dominating the entire ad space.
Maybe it would have been like, in that case, it's either make it or break it. And 3 months later, it's chapter 11 or something.
Right, like it just seems incredibly odd, given how expensive ad space could be, that sometimes we just seem to have a very limited amount, especially when some of these people are supposed to be just like quote unquote influencers.
Well, it would be kind of funny if they just kind of like, how many people want to do some advertising. So your number goes into a sort of raffle, and they just kind of. So it doesn't matter whether you're just a $10,000 business or a $10 million business. Your name will go in there too.
You know what you know what we should do? We should have that like we should have that part from Dumb and Dumber. We're like, hey, you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Ah! And we should just have that, and we should have that on a loop, and then we buy like ad space, and we'll dominate the entire planet with this annoying, the most annoying sound on the world.
I like to do it through a PA system with some of the neighbors we have here sometime. But
anyways, I think we probably
I
hit
think
about
have,
as much as we're going to milk that as much as we're going to get out of this.
Bottom line? The bottom line is really there's only a few little spaces up at the top. And down a little bit lower in that sort of Madison Avenue, there was a time when these people actually were clever. And now they just think they're clever. It's kind of like that CEO that got hired from Cracker Barrel. And she thought she was being really clever by just cutting off part of the sign. And wow, look at, see, I left that one. Like, come on, man. You're not clever.
Hey, do you remember that word that they used in that advertisement? Bucolic.
Oh, well.
The bucolic old man.
Yeah. Sure.
Anyways, no, but I think that, I think that what happens is there's two aspects. One is when you have a monopolistic dynasty dominating everything, it's a pretty bland landscape for
but they do, I really do believe they want to keep people plugged in. They don't want them being so disgusted with this advertising cramming down your throat.
Well, all it takes
that
is
people just say fuck that.
All it takes is conditioning, though, right? It's a slow procession. You don't hand out televisions in the 1950s and go, here's 20 minutes of fucking advertisement and 5 minutes of content, right? You have to slowly ease people into that reality.
Sure. How about if you're at a concert and they just stop, midway through the set, and now we're going to bombard you with a bunch of advertisement. You're here now. 20,
I think those
20,
big
30,
no, but
000.
I think those big record companies, I could easily see them shoving a can of Pepsi in Britney Spears' hand mid.
Oh, I just need to take a break.
Right.
Like it's so egregious the way that they operate their ad campaigns nowadays. And
it'd be different. Like I remember listening to radio in States sometimes, and they actually had some really funny ads. I mean, remember that one Heineken commercial? It's a beautiful night, and you're with a beautiful girl, and the bartender gives you 2 Heinekens, but notice that she's got one extra sip than you do.
I guess that's,
and you make the switch.
I guess that's something that we kind of missed talking about, is that it feels a little bit different when an advertisement is like, a little bit authentic, even barring like, it's nice when it's funny and entertaining, but like a lot of companies out there are scammers. They're basically literal con men. So their advertisement doesn't kind of sit quite as well. Like one thing I notice when I have the VPN on the States, the amount of fucking medical advertisement. Oh, this hospital, this health clinic, this pharmaceutical company. Oh, this drug. Oh, this. Yeah. Why do they have so much advertising dollars? Because they're a bunch of fucking scam artists, shysters, taking in like $1.7 trillion of U.S. taxpayers' money, and so it's like a big giant feeding frenzy of like all this unclaimed money, let alone the fact that then individuals are also paying out of their pocket. So it's like a multi-trillion-dollar industry, and these like little pricks are all coming to the trough, and so it rubs me even more the wrong way when I'm having an advertisement that is advertising something that I don't believe in at all and I think is a complete scam. It's not like if they're just advertising a new sneaker or new running shoe.
When you say
be like,
that,
okay, whatever.
that is offensive to you? And
Yes,
in a
I would
sense-
say that
in a
is
sense-
offensive, especially since
And don't you think that if you contacted, the what do you call those people?
Oh, dude.
the Guardian.
Better
No,
business bureaus.
Well, no, that's like ancient, but no, these people who are supposed to be there as watchdogs to make
Well,
sure that nothing is offensive.
that makes me think
I
of
think most people should call up and say,
No.
this bombardment of this kind of crap by the big pharma
Well,
is
but
offensive to me.
dude. Also think about the fact that so that's one aspect. There's other ones that are fucking like blatant like scams. They are full blown like pyramid schemes, right? That are advertising on, YouTube or advertising on some other social media. They are bona fide scams by scam artists. Now, dig this for a second, okay?
But
Imagine the audacity of these pricks who are taking in billions of dollars from shysters to advertise their scams on their website and then complain about misinformation being spread and put a little blurb underneath a video.
That's the biggest joke on the public.
I mean, you're actually
The biggest
you're
joke.
literally taking someone that is a white collar criminal and
Right.
you're pushing his con onto people because there's no checks and balances with the advertisement. If you want advertisement, you just pay AdSense in Google and then just go, okay. Right? No, right. And they'll just take whatever. They're not like looking at your business model or anything like this. So if it's a Ponzi scheme, if it's a pyramid scheme, and who else but a pyramid scheme would want to spend so much money on YouTube ads, right? YouTube's not the only. Every big company out there has their own advertisement trough. So it's obviously
yeah.
like Netflix, they'll
I've
embed
never
their
heard of any of
advertisement
them ever
inside.
saying, well, we've researched these people and we've had a lot of complaints, customer complaints that they didn't follow through on their promises, and so we've discontinued using them as a partner.
Yeah.
Or
No, I
something
know.
like that.
And so
No,
it's,
you never hear about that, really. I mean, if it happens, considering how many peddlers there are in...
and in light of that, then, you could almost say that the ads go a little bit beyond just a mild inconvenience. They are propagandistic at best to make you eat a unhealthy Big Mac or swallow down big mouthfuls of caramel-colored carbonated water, or they are actual just complete scams and Ponzi schemes that are potentially ripping people off for hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
And they're buying their ad space.
But as long as you don't say anything offensive that might offend somebody.
Well, and this is where it goes to.
You could fleece them blind.
Oh, yeah,
Just don't say anything that might actually offend them.
Well, and that's another that goes to another point of someone that looks like a little sheep that's fleecing his fellow sheep, and then the guy that is looks
Calling
like
them out?
well like one of the shepherd's dogs or whatever. The sheep tend to not like the shepherd's dog because he's a little bit of a barking,
Yappy little bastard.
controlling, blah 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 blah, but he's better than the wolf.
Right. Okay, well...
Anyways, I think we can wrap it up
we
there.
overextended that by 5 minutes.
But it was actually good to get that scam part in, because I was kind of like, I don't know, a little fog-headed, I guess, today. But really, yeah, that's an important portion of the entire... because I was kind of thinking of just the symbol of, like, the cyclical nature of not really producing anything, but just like living in a bubble of ads and pumping up more. There's more content creators. There's more people producing things that have ads on them, and then there's more ads that you can put on, but then there's more people that can produce more ads, and it's just like it's cyclical with like only like one guy in Oklahoma who's making a knife, Damascus blade knife, by hand, and you go, well, there's a hell of a lot of people that are running around trying to be influencers, and not too many people out there actually being fucking creators. And then there's also the scam aspect to the ads.
This is what happens when you're in a predominantly so-called service sector economy. Some are getting serviced more than others.
Yeah, well, that goes to like the George Carlin skit, which is
serving the customer.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll leave it at that, huh?
All right. Yeah, let's have a good weekend, and
yeah,
we'll see you on Monday.
Right.
Later.